I wonder if Bait are going to go into this. They're certainly thinking about it right now.
Yeah, they for sure are. Like tempo could be a good answer, but knowing that if late game is going to be the answer, we need something against the Spectre, and it's going to be pretty annoying as well because looking at heroes like Timber and Puck, they usually fall off a little bit. They're super strong in the mid game. They're very good at the 20-25 minute mark. But if you can get past that phase where Luna starts to become big, and then you have, okay, do we have a secondary hero to kind of support this Luna in the late game, or the other way around, like one hero reflects off of the other. And they're going to bring the Leshrac, so we do have some kind of tempo control for the early game as well. Plus the mid game, there's some fighting potential now for Bait.
Yeah, and like the big interaction with the Nyx and Lesh here is, if you haven't seen the previous ESL tournament, is that in
10 seconds
the combination of the Nyx Assassin stun with the Leshrac, and then especially the Leshrac shard, and then once you go into the Nyx Assassin Aghanims, you can keep people locked down for 10 seconds in a row. It's actually insane, and it's kind of AoE as well. So there is a big threat here for NoTechies, who right now really only have one big team fight spell with the Puck to get outdone in these team fights.
Talking about team fight, I have to say Bait pretty scared about that Warlock. Fatal Bonds can be nasty, but most importantly, the Golem to drop on top. So there's one piece of the team fight taken away. Do you think they're going to ban another team fight support, like another pause 5 here?
Possible. I mean, I definitely think that this was a pick that also has to do with the Spectre, because it's that classic combination, right? Against Spectre, you want to huddle together. Warlock likes it when you huddle together, so
Yeah.
he can drop those fatal bombs.
Free
and
hugs
then the
available.
Golem. Exactly. Other combinations that I've seen with the Spectre. Trying to think here. Like this is the healing support meta. I wouldn't actually be surprised to see a healing support come out here, even though the Winter Wyvern is already taken. We've seen Oracles, we've seen Abaddons. I do think they get a little bit short on the utility if they go for Abaddon here, and I also think that Excess Vampire, or sorry, excuse me, Solo is not quite that player. Because Excess Vampire is most likely going to take the Lion. Solo is, we know him for Bane, we know him for Disruptor. If he's looking for teamfight, he'll probably pick up the Disruptor.
Yeah, Disruptor could be an option. I was thinking Dazzle for a moment, but what's the synergy going to be like? Because Dazzle's more a minus armor provider, kind of stretch the fight a bit longer. If you think, if Wyvern were to go in another lane, that would be a bit different though. But on NoTechies side, if you think Dazzle can keep the Spectre alive a little bit longer, allows the Timbersaw to regen out, kind of disengage while staying alive, not giving any easy kills away, that could work. But Bait are going to line up and add a little bit more team fight. We've got the Tidehunter and the Ravage will be brought up.
Yep, this is the big tanky watermelon, right? And NoTechies, they shied away from getting really big damage, especially right-click damage, because of the Winter Wyvern. They don't want to get caught by that, by the Winter's Curse. But at the same time, that means that now they mostly have magical damage that's going to need a little bit of time, a little bit of levels to scale, and most importantly, magic damage is very limited. You need to wait for your next cycle of spells. A Tidehunter, who's going to have like a hood, a wand, etc., is going to live a very long time versus your lineup here, and he's also going to have a very good lane versus that melee Spectre. So NoTechies have a little bit of a damage pickle to deal with here on their safe lane.
That's true, and I think that also kind of reflects onto the Luna as well. Like, are both carries going to be pushed back a little bit with their early game and kind of struggle to come back into the game? Are we going to see a lot of 4v4s going on? Or are they going to try and secure the Spectre's lane with potentially maybe even an aggro tri-lane pick here? Because you can do it with a Lion, but you would love to see something aggressive brought up here along with them. But not sure if that's going to be the choice they want to go for. You could with a Hoodwink. Well, what do you think?
I think Hoodwink's a very defensive support. Like, this is what you... Ooh, but it is Excess Vampire, though.
Oh.
That is interesting. So Solo picking up that Lion, picking up the stuns to get the Tide off of the Spectre, and then Hoodwink. So the way I've seen Hoodwink be most useful is in a defensive position, where you can, when multiple heroes are converging on one of yours, you get a good Acorn shot, you get a good bushwhack, and then of course, because you're defensive, you're going to have vision, which means that later on you actually get to get good targeting for your ults. That's the way that Hoodwink operates. And it's actually kind of odd to see Axis Vampire play it, because Axis Vampire is very much a go-in kind of player. We know him from the Earth Spirit, right? We know him from the Tusk. So this is a bit of a novel style for him, and I'm curious to see where he's going to take it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Axis Vampire's got a lot on his hands for this game on how NoTechies are going to start building off of how do they secure for the Spectre. When does DK Focus need some help on his Timber Saw to maybe push down some objectives? Because Hoodwink's also a really important vision provider, which Timber also might need in some crucial moments. Because if they don't know where bait is moving, Nyx, Lesh, Wyvern, these can easily take down a Timber Saw alone, because usually you're playing at the 14-15 minute marker, taking down one of the deeper towers, like say a top or bottom tier 2 tower. If you go in too deep and you get ganked by all these magical damage dealers, it's not like, oh, I could tank these guys and just, you know, enjoy the time of the ride, but you just can't against all these magical heroes. It's just going to lead into an easy death and shuts down Timber's game from there.
And a lot depends on, as you said before, that Luna lane. I'm very curious to see how Watson is going to play this. You can get out ahead with the Luna here. I like it when you take that early strength of the Luna, you grab her aura, you make sure that you push the enemy out of the lane before you leave yourself, instead of just, you know, giving up by default. But we're going to see if he's actually going to be able to pull it off, because it also just, the quality of the Timber Saw player matters in this a great deal as well.
It does, and this is where we get into our first series of the day, starting off from the lower bracket. NoTechies on the Radiant side, bait on the Dire side of the map in our first map of this series as well. And I'm wondering, are we going to see some ganking shenanigans? Because, you know, that would be a great way to start off this day. Give us that Eastern European power that they've always provided in games where they just surprise completely. They are smoking as 5 on bait side from the bottom half, but don't think they're going to find anyone.
I would be very surprised if the Spectre walks into them here. She should know that something's up. And Smoke actually broke on 2 of them. I think they just got too close to the tower.
Might be. They placed down at least an observer ward into the jungle side. See some of the pullings that's going to be happening, taking place there. But they're not. They're suspecting. I think this is the moment where you've kind of scouted out your opponent. Like, have they already put a defensive ward down here? But it doesn't look like anybody's showing up. No Fear gets his wards down too, and NoTechies are playing it safe.
Alame actually moving forward here. A risky business.
Well, no first blood shenanigans this time. So we do get ourselves a calm start for the day. How'd you get your day started, Kips? All good there? Is it warm?
Oh, I'm frying here. I just hope that my poor laptop doesn't die of a heat stroke halfway through this.
Poor laptop. I remember that was we had so much fun last year as well with all the heat going on, etc. It's like, is it gonna pull through, or? But hey, it's made it this far. You know, professional jinxer here, crossing my fingers.
New PC is coming in, okay?
Well, let's see. We got the Puck Lesh going on in mid with Dendi versus Dame. It's almost like a mid laner legendary matchup in a sense as well for Dendi, especially because he is probably hungry to show himself what he's made of once again in the most important tournament of his life, maybe.
Yeah, in some ways it is, isn't it? Because the question here is, can he actually show up again? Is he confirmed washed up after this? Of course the player's never confirmed washed up, but his fans have been waiting for a long time to see more from him. And the thing is that Dendi ideally, I've talked to this guy, right? Ideally he doesn't want to. He'd like to be a supporting kind of player on the team. He wants to be the one enabling his other cores, but as the experience on the players that he plays with decreases because, well, less people want to play with him, the more trouble he has not making the team about him and not, you know, doing the things himself.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a catch-22 for him.
But that's sometimes how it rolls. You do have more sacrificial type mid players. Some are more space creators. Not necessarily the so-called carry of the team, but then you have teams who will have like this mid player who makes these really aggressive, flashy plays and wants to be that, you know, hero on the field.
Yep. And I do think that Dendi is very good, specifically in dispatch, because he likes to play these playmakers, you know, people that create space literally for the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And he's definitely going to have an active role in this game as well.
He is struggling a little bit here with the puck. Puck's got so many tools to fight against this left rack here. You've got phase shift that you can always try and dodge the stun. You can dodge some right clicks. You have very good damage on your side. But Puck is also that one kind of type of hero that basically if you don't have your Blink Dagger, if you don't have any mana pool, if you have spells on cooldown, you don't do anything. So you should always try and play defensive. Meanwhile, Focus taking a bit of a beating here. This Vampire does get the Bushwhacked off just in time. Watson is fine. Good trade with the magical trade. You got 2 points already picked up on the beam. So definitely ready to fight against this lane.
And the Blessing, presumably next level is going to go into the Blessing as well. And yeah, they got that damage onto DK Focus, especially because X's Vampire just went mid, secured a rune for Dame, so that then he got 0 of the water runes. And Focus took a little bit of harass for that, but that's alright. He's got reactive armor. He's going to regenerate back on up.
Meanwhile, it is the Tidehunter leading up in CS, 16-4 against 7 on the Spectre. So Spectre's maybe taking a bit of a dent here. Don't think it's going to get any easier from here either.
It's not. Like, in this match, you're really happy if your offlaner gets to just sit in the lane and push down the tower.
Yeah.
As,
It's also first blood in the top lane. Looks like a little bit of a deep battle there just outside of tower range, and it wasn't Focus tanking any tower hits or the creep wave, but instead it was the Hoodwink taking all the hits in, and Luna getting a kill here, that can lead quite far.
It can do quite a lot for her, yeah. Luna is all about getting one item ahead, or ideally more than the enemy. If you don't, then you're not going to have a game. It's as simple as that. But of course, she also has a lot of firing power. She's just very fragile. And engaging into her like that, like I think X's Vampire was just slowly making his way up while harassing, is very dangerous because of that trading power.
But it is looking alright for Bait here to start things off with. They have all of their cores farming up nicely. Wyvern's also picking up some XP. Currently a little bit ahead of this Hoodwink, who was supposed to be maybe the aggressive hero in this lane. And also looking about this bottom lane, we didn't actually talk about this, but we have a dual melee versus the Spectre. But still, Lion feels very disarmed in this lane. There's not much that Solo can really do here. You can't really bully the Watermelon, you know, he's just, you know, running around like the alpha he is, and then you have this Nyx Assassin who's just gonna... actually, Nyx's build, no points in mana burn. You don't usually pick it up, but maybe in a case of a Lion who's gonna be, you know, sapping away your mana and just, you know, dishing out hits, maybe it would have been... But, you know, stuns are always nice to have.
Yeah, I actually think it's basically the other way around. Like, okay, you burn Lion's mana. He's never really going to be impressed by that, because he's going to get it right back.
Yeah, he does it better.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
But
so we hit level 6 on our mid lane Puck here now. So this is normally where Dame 19 team is going to look for his first rotation, maybe with a power rune soon. For now though, just on the retreat, and he's going to have to watch out that while he rotates, Dendi does not man up and take his tower. Because that is what the Nyx Assassin is sitting here for as well. He is waiting for Dendi to push out that lane, shove it under tower, see if they can dive whoever shows up.
Yeah, Nyx Assassin's been waiting in this mid lane for quite a long time now. I think it's almost a minute since Nyx rotated here. And just waiting for that opening.
Let us not forget the mistakes Dire's courier made in
Really wants to make a move there. Meanwhile, Focus actually snatches a courier on the way.
Dire's top tower is being attacked.
Bit of revenge on the Hoodwink's death before, doing a bit of damage on No Fear. Nothing too decisive yet. There's a hood pickup for the Timber, so we had a Soul Ring on the Tidehunter, face boots into a magic wand, basic stat items for the Tidehunter. What do you think? Are we gonna see another hood on Tidehunter as well? I mean, you want to soak up a bit of that Puck nuke.
You do, yes. I'm not too sure. It all depends on the way that they want to run this mid game here. I'd like to see it just because then you can really use the Tidehunter as this frontline tank while you bully down all of these towers. As we watch him mid, Solo. That's not quite a go, my friend.
Valiant effort. Ulti's still unused, salved up, so Nyx is fine. Are we going to see any rotations? Almost all TPs are up as well, except for the Tide. No mana to go in unless you go with the Soul Ring and pop your Ravage, but that's also a easy dodge for the Puck. Good attempt there with the tower hit dodge and trying to connect an impale right after. Now we've got Lesh coming in, so Dendy's back into action. Doesn't get any bottle charges on his friend, though. Just going to drive
They
Puck
took a
away.
lot of damage on this tower.
They did.
Which is... So Dame uses the power rune to instead push the Leshrax lane in. And Dendy himself doesn't actually look like he really wants to rotate all that badly. He'd much rather go into the jungle, farm up some caps. And get towards, I presume, Boots of Travels here, which is the build that I've seen most often. I think it's a little bit on the greedy side, but when you've got a Lesh, when you get so much out of the fountain regen and the map mobility, it's very hard to skip it.
Bit of a jungle contest here, farming some of those camps that were placed down there earlier on by the Winter Wyvern. All towards. We're going to see the first haunt come out as well, but might have been a preemptive one. However, they're actually going on in mid. Puck manages to dodge the stun, gets hit by the impale. That should be the end of Dame. Gets the orb out, moves away. Good, nice ravage there from Solo. Almost could say a budget ravage in this case, but a good one. Though Puck manages to get out. Good attempt from Dendy. TSA. They're actually going to get the haste rune out as well, so Lesh is going to have an empty bottle here. Super long stun comes out as well, but Focus finds a kill on Watson, 1 versus 2, while all of this rotation was going on in mid.
So even though the Luna went into the lane dominating build, like you can see that sometimes if you don't play it out well enough, the Timbersaw still gets ahead. And he is going to have that ideal scenario now where everybody was busy on mid, nobody was there to help out the Luna. She has got a 2-1-2 build right now, so going into the jungle is not going to feel too great for her. But she's going to have to, because this top lane belongs to the Timbersaw now.
Yeah, top lane is lost. And there's no return into this. Focus will take the first tower of this game. Waits for the range creep to drop it onto the sweet spot. And there we go. Focus will take that one. For NoTechies. Could say a pretty calm start considering the active mid heroes we have in these drafts.
Well, Dandy's bot right now and he found lane.
Yep. Going for it. Looking for the Spectre. 400 HP. Ravage will be used. It should be the end of lane here. Sun's connecting beautifully. And they get themselves a kill. Bait 2-1. And most importantly, the Spectre kill. He is now down to 6th place in net worth. 500 gold behind Luna, who also died in top just momentarily. So that's going to hurt. They are going to TP bot.
Solo got found on the side.
Solo, yeah, he's like, I want to use the stun, but is it going to come out in time? He's actually going to get it. The Carapace finally pops. And that should be the end of this Nyx Assassin. Should be the end. Okay. Just dropped the coil. Oh, actually hits on Dendy as well, and a connection does come out from Solo, with the bushwhack missing by a few pixels. Not gonna catch this Leshrac here. Maybe could have been an attempt, but not sure if they would have wanted to go after with that stun. But still, at least the Nyx kill.
And a really economic win is that you can put Focus anywhere on the map right now, and Bait will have to spend multiple heroes to do it.
Big ulti play here. They know there's no haunts available on the Spectre. Watson takes a freebie. Oh boy.
Excellently done. Spectre did not expect him to be there. Like, this is one of the drawbacks of not letting the enemy take your safe lane towers. Like, Dendy's going to go in for it again. They're running down X's Vampire right now, but because this tower is not yet down, yeah, the Luna can't play in the opposite jungle, so there's a risk you run into her in the jungle that you just claimed if you're NoTechies.
Indeed. Like, that was a moment you just casually went to pick up an Invis rune at the river as a Luna, and then you suddenly appear out of nowhere, pop your ult, and you're like, okay, well, what can I do? I can't really do anything. If I try to TP, there's a Lucent
focus in mid.
They're trying to get him. Timber, oh, he's such a tanky boy. He almost takes down Dendy with him. He is testing his limits. These are exactly the 3 heroes we talked about being the risk for this Timbersaw, but this time he gets out.
He does. He's got that hood, same as the Tidehunter, by the way, who's also ready to fulfill that role, but especially now that the Ravage is down, you don't actually want to use that Tidehunter solo on the bot lane. You can still die. You're not going to get the same benefit out of it as you would with the Timbersaw solo on that lane. But that means that Bait right now is a little bit constricted. They have mostly their own triangle to farm in right now, and that's already being watched by this Radiant Ward over here. So they have got good eyes on Watson and his small ancient stack.
Radiant's
Yeah,
bottom
it
tower
is something,
being attacked.
but he's definitely going to want a little bit more. Watson is sitting on 3rd place in net worth, though, so
Radiant's
not too
bottom
far
tower
behind.
is demolished.
Mask of Madness right-click build. Get a little bit of... I mean, this is the fastest farming item you can build on Luna.
Dire have
It is.
fortified their
Let's see if the
towers.
Tide... Nope, he gets caught.
Puck ulti in bottom. This is a very risky attempt, though. Can they take him down? They're going to break the Tide Hunter. Finger on top, and they will get the damage to take down this Timber. Sorry, this Tide Hunter. Meanwhile, they might actually lose Timber as well because he's being initiated on in mid. It's the same 3 heroes. Timber Chain will be cancelled by the curse. And that should be it for Fogus. And finally, well, it wasn't the first time, but the second one, it
Dire's
counts.
top tower is being attacked.
Wyvern spending the ult there just to make sure that he doesn't get out. And that Tide Hunter gets the bottom tower because those 3 heroes that were smoked up, they were originally looking at mid. They were not going for him. They were going to let him take the tower and go towards that mid lane instead. But they changed their mind. They get the Tide Hunter kill, but it also means that their Timbersaw is now overextended because that help didn't come in.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you just couldn't see coming, really. It's like you made a decision, but the opponent's already making a play at the same time, and you don't really see them reactionary plays, so... It's actually important to talk about those things, and I'm glad you noticed that as well, because that's also one of those things where the players' comms, which we can't hear, we can only kind of visibly hope to see that we're maybe correct with what they do. Like with this smoke play that they're going to do here in bottom. 3-man smoke, a lot of nuke damage on these 3. There's no curse for 30. Watson's also back. He's back paddling a lot here in front of the secret shop. No Fear's going to tank this one.
Dire's middle tower is
But
being
Watson,
attacked.
does he actually want to fight? It looked like he wanted to fight. He was cancelling his Eclipse there. They do have Ravage. They're going to take a support for support, but I think that's about it. I don't think we're going to see any more casualties.
NoTech is drawing all of the reactions there, which is great. But at the same time, they don't actually get any new vision down, which is a problem. You could see that they were moving kind of gingerly into that area because their previous ward had timed out. They didn't quite know where their enemies were. And now they'll still not have that information, and Watson gets to farm more Ancients uncontested.
That's true. I think that what they were looking for is Luna's probably farming Ancients. Like, this is an optimal time to be farming at that camp. And Watson was exactly doing that, but he was at the secret shop at the time. Probably waiting for the camp to spawn or maybe get a stack going on. So very good dodge there just in time.
Dendy, by the way, hasn't gone for the Boots of Travels whatsoever. He is moving into a Yule's right now. Got a hood, got arcane boots, so he is much more ready for that early aggression that, you know, from personality-wise I'd expect to come out from him.
Yeah, his itemization is really telling that he's playing with the team instead of making singular pick-off plays with Boots of Travel Yules. You have Hood and Mana Boots to kind of extend yourself a little bit more, play around with your stun, and your ally has the capability to connect onto that. No Fear gets hit by a illusory orb, so he knows somebody's up here. So is Solo. There's a lot of players here in this Radiant Triangle. Usually there should always be one, but now there's 3 people. There's 2 farming the same jungle area.
And in the meantime, Bait is trying to put this Tide Hunter opposite this Timbersaw. Doesn't always feel good if you're a Tide because of the Whirling Death, of course, but he is the tankiest hero that will live the longest if people actually follow up on that Timbersaw.
Yeah. I think the big risk here for the Tide Hunter to get surprised is getting hit by a Hoodwink ult, even if it's just for a tiny second, but that break can be the downfall of this Tide Hunter. And another smoke play. Are they going again to the triangle? They're going to go for a counter smoke play. They're going to run into each other's. They find the Nyx Assassin. There comes the Winter's Curse, but Puck still has his ulti available. He needs to get it out, but the Ravage comes beautifully, connecting on 4 heroes, because Spectre also comes in with a Haunt X's Vampire trying to make a runaway from Leshrac, but it's not going to happen this time, as Dendy is going to take him out. Lame, however, he runs in. He's got this Blade Mail pop. Lesh is going to take a bit of damage here. Focus. Oh, No Fear might have just actually set up Dendy for a death here, but Watson is coming in for the rescue. Are they going to rescue Dendy as well with 100 HP? And Focus is going to drop as well. No Techies will lose every single hero, and Bait will take this team fight in their name. Both teams clashed. They clashed with the smoke, but only one came on top. 5-1.
Beautifully played teamfight there by Bait, actually. They did not come into that from a favorable position at all. Up into a smoke from the river on the low ground, but that Tide just skipping past the front lines with the Blink Dagger, doing excellent work. Dendy now broken, healed.
But healed. Sometimes you need a little bit of mending here and there, but Dendy's fine. He's got his Tidehunter stepping in between. With that team fight, Bait has a triple net worth lead on all their cores. And a pretty healthy one, too.
Watson pulling ahead now. Not going to stop anytime soon. Going to have a Mantis style pretty quickly here. And that's where things get really rough for, well, heroes like the Puck as well, for example. That silence is not going to do anything for you anymore.
Indeed. Comparing Watson to Lame as well, Echo Saber Blade Mail is the decision for Spectre. I think we discussed a lot about this Echo Saber pickup. What was the reasoning behind it? I feel like it's good money for stats, nice mono region compared to the Falcon Blade. And then, of course, you have the double hit with the Desolate for the extra damage. They're going to use Winters because, you know, it's a Spectre. Why not? That's not the place to be for Lame. And Dame is trying to look for some kind of revenge here. He's got Focus with him. Might be able to take down No Fear. Nice snipe from Ex's Vampire. And might lose his life here, but they are chasing for a little bit more. They have the Puck ulti available in just a few more seconds. 6 seconds required. As Nyx is taking a beating from Focus. Focus and Dame, they're able to take down one more kill. Can they get another? Dame is under the tower. They're trying to split away the attention from Focus because they know Puck is a big, big target. So he allows his friend to get out. Illusory Orb to safety. Watermelon can chase, but can he chase far enough? You're gonna let him go.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward trade there. The Nyx Assassin was about half a second off his Spiked Carapace. If he actually gets that off, I think either the Puck or the Timbersaw die there. But since they're so mobile, it's pretty much impossible for Dendy to actually hit the Split Earth and get one of the kills without a Nyx Assassin's intervention.
Thinking, we talked about this Lesh build for a while. He's finished a Kaya after that team fight, and now with the BKB coming up on this Lesh, I feel like maybe that's going to open up Dendy's gameplay a little bit as well. Maybe he can have a little bit of more free roam for a couple extra seconds, and maybe work as a vision provider. Because like they did last time, we see the Tidehunter come out with a beautiful 4-man Ravage because of all the vision provided. You have a Nyx Assassin, you have a Flying Winter Wyvern giving flying vision, and then if you have a Leshrac with a lot of movement speed plus BKB, you're going to be very safe to just wait for your timing and go in. It's so easy to fight when you're in Bates' team.
It is, yes. You just put the Tidehunter out in front, or you walk in with the Nyx Assassin right now, trying to do that with Vendetta and Smoke. Unfortunately, they don't catch anyone, but you can see the Tide fishing here and getting attention.
Whirling Death does about 300 damage. Not enough there on the Tidehunter to feel afraid, though. They are setting their attention towards bottom. Puck is there, as they are also sieging a tier 2 tower. They have the vision advantage. Wyvern's also waiting for the call. When do I go in with the curse? Solo, Dame setting up in the trees. Exus Vampire also behind. The Puck ulti does connect on Dendy. Dendy standing on the edge of this, tanking some of these hits, but staying alive. Ravage comes out as well for the defense of Dendy. As Focus, they get a nice bushwhack on 2. Might just be a nice turnaround here for NoTechies. They find Watson, they get TSA. They're going to get the Tidehunter as well. And this might just be a really big one here for NoTechies, because they find 4 kills at the cost of the Spectre. Obviously, Spec's not happy to lose his life, but this is a trade you would still take any day.
That's a great defense. The fact that they get the coil on Dendy here and then he kills himself on the blade mail is absolutely huge. It's unfortunate, but that's what's gonna happen here. Unless you've got this uncontrollable damage, the Spectre needs to die before she's on top of you. And unfortunately, since you're in this offensive situation where the Tidehunter can't really jump any backlines because you're getting engaged into yourself, you're not going to get that jump.
That's one of those moments. I was looking at the Leshrac inside the Puck coil. He walked on the very edge of it. If only Lesh went for the Yules build this game, he would have been able to break the coil without getting stunned by casting Yules, because it pushes your unit model a little bit higher up. It also means that the distance grows, but it snaps the coil, but you don't get stunned and you come back down. So if he went for that build, it might have been, but oh, the Solo. What are you doing, my friend? I hate to question, but that was maybe excessively aggressive. You're a level 12 jumping in front of a level 18 Luna with no backup.
Yeah, that was definitely overzealous. I mean, that's the thing,
I think
right?
zealous
Solo
is a good
has
word,
made
yeah.
Yeah, he has made a name for himself with being over-positioned. But the problem with Solo, especially in his VP days, is that a lot of teams didn't actually want to punish him for it because you don't know if there's 4 heroes sitting behind him or not. That's the problem with Solo. He's going to live slightly longer than you expect him to, and he's always got more allies behind him than you want, ideally. Now, when the team is not adapted to Solo playing like that, and also, like, I do think that it's partially just making up for Solo's shortcomings. It's a clever way of doing it, but let's call a fish what it is.
Yep. But it's true. It does have that mental factor.
He's gonna feed sometimes. I think the fear factor is kind of gone now that it's not, you know, Noon standing behind him, though.
True, true. I'm looking at this puck, 22 minutes, BKB Witchblade. No Blink, though. I think Blink is the big playmaker item here for puck. They don't actually have to play this top lane here. I was looking at the Spectre being chased by the Nexus Assassin with a Tidehunter.
The thing is that there's several other initiators in this game, right? You're going to have the Haunt to give vision. The Timbersaw is going to play up front. You're going to have the Lion with the Blink Dagger right now as well.
Yeah,
like, I think what matters is your control.
True. I think, like we talked about, Puck as a hero, the Blink Dagger really allows you to make the plays, be able to position yourself a lot better. Not even about the Blink coil, but basically being able to come in and out more frequently, enabling you to do more damage. Plus the Orb out Blink in the phase shift once you have the... if you're going for the right-click build, you have the phase shift damage that comes out as well. So it allows you to have an extra tool to harass the opponent. But Bait's not looking for harassment, they're looking for total annihilation here. They're smoked up as 5, looking for a straight-up team fight. But it also might be, let's take Roche. No, they're going to make another call. Somebody showed up in mid. It's going to be Focus. Focus is a decent target, but if it's the only one they can take, they will take it. What's NoTechies' answer? Focus with the Lotus Orb. Here comes Hoodwink. Ravage will be used on 2. It will be for 2 heroes. Puck is making his way out. This is good for NoTechies if they only end up losing 1 hero. If they lose Hoodwink, he's still got another run here, but he's gonna get blinked on top. So Dandy finds a double kill here. Dame manages to dodge the stun from Nyx, but you use Ravage for 2 kills. NoTechies could respawn.
They could, yes. And they are in position right now. They found this Nyx assassin over on the high ground.
Okay, then. That's a display of firepower, then, for sure. They are making a lot of time. No objectives will be lost by NoTechies on this day because they're forcing all of their heroes chasing the Lion on their own side of the map. And now Spectre gets some free time in top. So I would say this is a lot of space because that net worth graph, which was about 5-6k for Bait, it's only 2k lead now.
It is, yes. And... man, Lame is moving up really far into this jungle again, really playing with this Luna almost.
Yeah, yeah.
He's going to have to be careful that he doesn't tank another Eclipse. Anyway, the point that you make there is completely correct. Yeah, no objectives were taken off of those 2 kills from Bait, and now their Ravage is going to be down for a little while longer. They didn't take Roshan, they didn't take any map control, they got a single ward down. But that's not really enough payoff, and NoTechies are happy to let this one go later. They've got the Spectre. They've got time.
They're actually going Roche. Pretty sneaky play here, but it might pay off completely under the cover of darkness. They have no vision whatsoever. NoTechies have placed their own obs, so they have an advantage. There's no Ravage, there's no contesting, and this should be an easy Aegis here. No fear.
Very good decision making from NoTechies here.
Oh, won't be able to contest this one. 25 minutes. First Roshan for NoTechies. Hoodwink ulti was used. They hope to catch a bushwhack into the ulti. Break the Tidehunter. Blow him up quickly. Won't happen this time. But he's actually going to refresher orb on this Tidehunter. Plus 20 seconds until his primary one is ready. He's not going to wait for it. He's going to use it right away. And Timbersaw gets taken out. Spectre also stunned up. He might lose his Aegis here, but Solo's trying to do a lot of work. They take down Watson. He never got his ulti off, and Luna's out from play. They have the buyback from the Timbersaw coming in as well, so they have the man advantage. Now no fear being chased up. Dame will take that one down, and they found Dendy as well, sitting under a ward, and they will take him out as well. And Bait will pay a heavy price for this as well. They never got Luna's ulti off.
Luna never pressed BKB. It's that simple. If you press BKB there, then that refresher play that catches NoTechies completely by surprise is going to pay off big time. You're going to kill everybody. But instead, no BKB, no fallout for that second Ravage, and yeah, you lose 3 heroes, and that's the Bloodstone reveal from the Leshrac as well. I swear this item is cursed, man.
Yeah.
You get a Bloodstone, you lose 2 charges. It has been scientifically demonstrated.
It's a high risk, high reward item, but I agree. It feels like most Bloodstone carriers always end up losing a couple charges on their, well, the first seconds that they bought it.
Invisibility.
Ah, it's 3, of course. Anyway, not the same as you bought it with.
Yeah, could take a quick look at the graphs as well. That 5k lead, it's almost diminished completely. That graph is continuing to rise. XP is now tied up, and that's going to continue to go a little bit into the favor of NoTechies, who have the initiative. They have an Invis puck rolling around this mid lane. They've got Focus around as well. Nyx is going to take the scouts in front. There's no sentry ward placed down, though, so they can't see him. Actually do see him if he does take a few steps forward, but he's suspecting. Very obvious choke point place to have a ward placed down. They found the Wyvern.
Assassinated.
Literally assassinated. Nothing left of the Wyvern there but feathers. Gone for 40 seconds. Should be up in a while, though. This does give NoTechies a bit of map control for themselves. Maybe even a top tier 2 tower. Let's see if they feel frisky enough to commit to this one, or just do chip damage.
At the very least, Dame can play up. This is something that I wanted to bring up earlier, but his real insurance is making sure that he can go in and out of these fights is the BKB, because the scariest thing about going in on this bait lineup is the Nyx Assassin, is that spiked Carapace, and with the BKB, that is not a threat. So you're free to play wherever you want on the map right now if you're Puck.
Yeah. The fear is definitely there. But they're also playing very, you could say, turtle-based Dota here on the bait side, since their last 2 engagements haven't really gone their way. Where did they take it from here? Did they just wait for Luna to grow big and maybe Luna presses BKB in team fight? Is there something more to it?
Something more to it than pressing the BKB in the team fight. I'm afraid not. That was a really important moment where they could have immediately grabbed that tempo that NoTechies tried to take and say, no, it's ours actually. We don't care that you just got a Roshan.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, instead you're going to be waiting for the Satanic now. Next item timing, go again. And yeah, with that BKB up on the puck, with all of the defensive items coming out from NoTechies right now, Spectre's halfway to a Skadi. We've had a Lotus Orb and a Sange over on that the Timbersaw for a while as well. They have a lot of defensive capabilities. The armor on the enemy side is ticking up. You're going to need that physical damage from the Luna to be there.
Haste.
Yeah, it almost has to be coming out from the Luna in most places at least, to be able to secure these team fights in their favor, because that heavy nuke damage on the side of NoTechies, we've seen it surprise several heroes so far. They're trying to do the same thing again, and they surprise them off guard as well, but a beautiful curse is there. Watson's popped this Eclipse as well. They're going to be able to take down Dame. He's at 1 HP inside the phase shift. He gets out with the BKB being used, and he's going to walk out. He's not going to fall at all. Dendy's down. The Titan's is dead as well. No Fear lives, though, for at least a few seconds until Dame comes in for the snipe, and now Watson is going to need some backup, but he does have that Satanic, and a buyback coming in from the Winter Wyvern as well, forcing NoTechies on the retreat out of this engagement. They forced 2 buybacks. They've dealt the damage onto Bait, and that was a double Ravage used as well during that team fight. So there's not much left for Bait, but they're still going to try and push for an objective.
Yeah, they're going to have to get something out of this, especially with the buyback spent. You can see the Puck there doesn't BKB, nearly pays the price for that engagement as well. So he's actually going to go into an Aeon Disc. I like that he went for the BKB instead of the Aeon Disc first, but I gotta say, it is such a useful tool for cores that just need to not die right now, that I don't blame him for going back for it whatsoever.
Yeah, that BKB pickup allowed him to walk out because Luna wasn't able to get a Lucent Beam off, which would have easily been the end of Puck there.
Radiant's top tower is under siege.
Hoodwink throwing in an ulti, just a bit of casual harassment onto the Tide. But he realizes this has happened a couple times. He's being hit by the Hoodwink ulti, so he just walks out. Doesn't want to get sniped this time.
Radiant
2
has
towers
lost
for
their
bait.
tower.
Roshan, 2 minutes minimum.
And they're going to be ready for that. They have the Aghanim Scepter over on their Nyx Assassin right now, so this is what's going to make sure that they have that huge amount of area control with the Leshrac. Lesh going for an Aeon Disc himself, by the way. Dendi has not been having a fun time with that enemy Blade Mail, so
No.
I think it's a good pickup for him. Again, just like the Puck, the only thing he really needs to do is to survive the initial phase of the fight in order to actually be able to pick and choose who he deals his damage to later. Because right now he's got a big target on his back.
Yeah, that's true. They have been running into this problem of who's going to win the team fight in the first 5 seconds. So all these BKBs soaking up all that magical damage on both ends, and looking for how do we get these big ultis off. On the positive side for Bait, they still have that BKB piercing ulti, being the Winter Wyvern. Connecting it on a primary superior target like they did on the Puck, it was very close that it actually paid off for them. But if you get it on a Spectre, for example, Spectre takes a lot of damage. Keep your distance. Initiate with the Ravage, the secondary Ravage right after. Never get to use the Blade Mail or anything. Those are key points, and it kind of gives an edge for Bait. But NoTechies, they see one hero quickly, they snipe him out of fight, they can disengage or start to take a 5v4. So there's that.
Yeah, that's exactly the picture of the fights here. If it's a full 5-on-5, Bait definitely have the advantage. But as soon as NoTechies can blow someone up at the start and disengage again, it's very hard for Bait to actually chase without over-engaging. Their heroes, if they're in, they're in.
Took a moment there to watch the Nyx Assassin's office has been set up in the mid lane. love the Aghanims. I really like the thing that you can always Vendetta in and out from it. Keep your vision. If it didn't have the capability to move invis after it's broken, it doesn't feel like anybody would actually buy it. But Vendetta's been tinkered with a lot in the last few years.
It has. Kind of missing the break on it, but you know, that was probably a little bit too much of a good thing.
It's true, it's true. Also, the Nyx Shard was a big thing. Like, well, that was last year's meta, basically. All the Nyx Assassins would just go for the Ag Shard first item, 20 minutes, basically. Have that crazy movement speed, and able to play aggressive. What do you think, by the way? Like, is aggressiveness still the key, or do you feel like counter initiators are going to be the new meta?
I think with the amount of healing that we have right now, aggression is good if you're the first one who blows people up. It's always going to be a risk. And I think with Aeon Disc being so strong right now, with heroes like Winter Wyvern making it so difficult, what you're really going to be looking for is the vision game. If you have the superior vision game as a team, you can still be the initiator and blow up. But as you can see here, from both Bait and NoTechies side as well, they've both had multiple engagements where if they don't get the targets down that they need to be down, you lose the entire fight.
Yeah. I just realized that can't actually see the Roshan timer behind the UI, but it's under a minute for Roshan to spawn. And both teams know it. Nyx hasn't moved a single inch from this Roche pit, and they probably know he has to be somewhere around this area. All the 10 players are in this small area right here. It's not like everybody's clumped up as a team, but you can see like there's still a lot. They're very spread out. Now they're starting to stack up again.
Focus is scalding a lot. He knew Denny was in those trees.
Oh my god, I think I might have just choked on something I must not have eaten, because Puck does a beautiful Ravage dodge, and it's the end for Bait pretty much here, unless they're able to turn this around. They've got the Spectre out. Focus is also dropping low, because Watson and Dendi, with the BKBs, they just stand their ground, and the secondary Ravage was a lot better than the first one. Dame still goes into the backline. Dendi heals up with the Bloodstone. Meanwhile, they're going to take down Solo, and Focus also with being out. They're just running out of firepower here. excess Vampire might be able to get a little bit in. Dane wants to kill off Dendy, but the coconut, or the acorn in this case, takes down Dendy. And Dame is the only one to run out, so what a beautiful start for NoTechies. Ended up being even better for Bait to turn around.
Yeah, that's a little bit of inexperience there. The Spectre running straight up into the high ground when you know there's a second Ravage, when you don't actually have a BKB or Vision. It's hard to expect that you're gonna live there.
I must admit, I just went speechless for a moment there when I saw that Pog dodging. Like, you see the arcane rune, it's like, oh, gimme, gimme, gimme. And then you see 3 people show up out of nowhere. They know exactly where the next assassin is. It's gonna be a tough bite. With all of this burst damage, they're able to take him out. And Nyx is gonna have to buy back into this, but at least they know Roche is now being taken by NoTechies. Lion is gonna be up in 3 seconds as well. There's no tower to TP to except for the mid-tier 2 tower. It's gonna take a few seconds for him to arrive. Dendy. Aeon Disc will pop from the Bushwhack. Watson. Roche is very low, 1000 HP. They realize it right now, and they're going to be able to take it. The Age will be taken with the spec of the Watson is going to come in and take all of the rest of the stuff from the ground for himself. He's got the shot, he's got the cheese. No Fear is going to fall, however, and they can't get that Winter's Curse off, but they're going to take down the Aegis, and they might be able to take down a second time of the Spectre. The gem is on the ground as well. They will be able to take that for themselves. The Spectre trying to make a run for it with the Blade Mail on. He does get the distance out with the Spectral Dagger. And just like that, it's a semi-skirmish here. Watson able to procure the cheese and the shard while the Aegis gets expended. But on the positive side, Luna still has those items. He used the shard on himself, and he has the cheese as well.
Yeah, say that's a win for Bait here, especially with the Timbersaw also dying back there. Luna is getting more and more ahead, and it's getting to the point where you can see that even though she doesn't have a BKB anymore, she isn't actually dying. With the Satanic, all of the extra tankiness, as well as the Butterfly, it's too hard for NoTechies to sort of casually take her down, you know, with a finger, with a puck rotation. It's not happening anymore. They need to engage for that now. And the Spectre does not actually have the issue to make it happen. And now,
they're gonna walk into a trap, and Watson just doesn't get anything out. That's how fast the Luna falls. Dendy uses the cheese, but it's gonna be a tight one. The stun connects on 2. Dane takes a lot of damage. BKB, but the Ravage will not connect on the puck. It will hit everything else though, and that might just be enough. The Spectre's at 200 HP, but the Tidehunter runs out of mana. They're gonna have to let him walk out. Excess Vampire on the side. The curse will be dropped on top of the puck, and No Fear wants to kill him himself with the Lion's help. But it's not going to be enough. It's just coming one by one, and it's still not enough. And Nyx is still throwing these stuns, but you're not going to stun a Lion who's just soaking up all of this mana. No Fear. Look at that HP regen. It's pretty sick, though. Aeon Disc pops off Dame. But Solo, he gets the finger off and gets a kill. I don't even know what's going on in these fights. They're like... They were under an Obs ward. This ward on this cliff right here revealed Watson coming in. And you saw how fast Luna dropped from 100 to 10% and then being hexed for the rest of the fight.
yeah, I mean, I was talking about how she's hard to take down now, but not if she throws herself in front of the bus like that.
Yep. I don't know what kind of metal you have to be made out of. Pretty heavy metal in this case. Watson. It's going to be up in 20 seconds. Lame pushing down mid. Focus does have that flamethrower available, but they're going to hold on to it for now.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
Did you see what the Tidehunter just bought?
Talking about the Deso?
I am talking about the Deso. That is a fun item.
Yeah, I mean, Tidehunter with AoE Anchor Smash, and then you have the Gush for extra minus armor. I think this is all towards buffing up the Luna. But surprising is there's no Solar Crest, but instead the Deso. So why this way? Why Deso, not Solar Crest? What do you think?
I think it's because the NoTechies lineup actually has to clump together a lot in order to deal their damage, at least at some points in the fight. The cores are going to be relatively short on top of each other, so the Desolator is going to do a lot of work there. But it also might just straight up be the idea that, well, we need more damage, I have a lot of farm, I can build a bigger item than a Solar Crest.
Yeah. Well, I'll agree with that. as we see the smoke coming out with no techies. Without the Spectre, Spectre can always haunt in, but look at how they're clumped up. They're right next to each other's, and that Obs Ward. Okay, they're gonna play preemptively. Nice play with the Eclipse coming in forward. They have the Ravage, and Spectre's falling though, and Lame is out for 125 seconds. No Spectre, Solo dropping low. Watson getting the damage out, and with all of that minus armor, easy to take down this Lion. 2 heroes down. And Excess Vampire, he's on the run now. He's got a TP out if he wants to make it out alive this time, but Bates, they played it better.
They did beautiful read of the situation there from Watson, just popping that Eclipse, knowing that they were incoming, and in fact could not get out again in time with that Spectre. Was absolutely gorgeous. That definitely makes up for at least one of his overextensions there.
They didn't see the Obs Ward being placed down, but they were feeling something's fishy. However, reactions pay off this time, because they did have the Eclipse come off just before the Haunt fell, so they were definitely ready for what was about to happen. Might have been one of the smokes. Might have been one of the smokes that popped with this Obs Ward placed on the low ground. I missed that one.
Yeah, the smoke on the Tide broke. So they knew somebody was coming up there. They also actually popped Carapace on the Nyx Assassin already, but no way to know for sure what was going on until they actually engaged.
Yeah. But with all these BKBs on the line, Pog Aghanims is still an option. Because that might surprise a lot of heroes, knowing that the going through spell immunity and then running to max range and got stunned. Then you're stunned for like 7 seconds. And 7 seconds or 6 seconds, however it is, it's still a lot of seconds that you're going to be sitting in that stun. It's more than BKB charges on the Luna.
It's just 4, but
it's just 4. Oh, okay. So it's the old one that I was remembering. My bad.
It's you're
old
remembering
info.
the old one.
But still, 4 seconds, it's still like your almost entire BKB charge might be spent, because the time it pops, you pop your BKB, you start running around, it's like already 1 or 1.5 seconds gone. So by the time it ends, you don't have any more magic immunity, and you're very defenseless at that time. Same goes for the Leshrac. Not too far away from it either, so that might be a big game changer. However, this time, no Techies are playing Turtle. So this has been very, very back and forth. Very exciting game number 1 here at the lower bracket. Elimination best of 3 with no Techies and bait.
And they're playing as if this is the last game already. It's just the first one, guys.
Yep. Like you should. Like they're definitely awake. They've probably played some pubs in the morning already and very prepared for this probably most important tournament of their lives. But this Ravage will not succeed. The curse will connect. They're trying to connect onto this Tidehunter. Keep him busy for as long as possible. They might even kill the Tide before the Ravage goes out, but he will get in out just in time. Focus will fall. Spectre, half HP, in big trouble. Can they help out Lame? Excess Vampire, Solo. They're just throwing in stuns from the high ground, connecting all of them, but the Spectre's still going to get hot. They're going to get taken down, and Lame is out. 100 seconds dead. So is Focus. What do Bait do from here? They still have every core remaining and all that damage to be given. There's no Roach for at least 40 seconds. They're checking that one first.
Yeah, they're going to have to, but and the problem here is as well, the Puck is still alive. He's going to be cutting waves. You can see Dane right here. He's not afraid of anything.
Right under a ward.
I doubt even then that they're going to catch him.
The TP attempt, and it's almost there. But they take down Watson in mid. We completely missed this as well. Excess Vampire and Solo. These 2 supports just took down your enemy carry. 3.6k HP gone.
There goes all your credit, Watson.
Wow.
Oh no. This is why you shouldn't chase the Puck, by the way. You're A, not going to catch him, and B, you're distracted from other things that might be going on at the same time. The Luna is positioning after one fight. Like, alright guys, I'm big boss on the field right now.
I agree.
But if your team is actually walking away from you...
Someone could say grade A distraction, or maybe in this case, the seduction of the Puck, but they left their Luna all alone. I can only imagine what was going on in the comms after that. Is it a big dead silence for a second? You could call it a bait.
You could. No, like, what happens in the comms at that moment is that there is too much talking. Like, they're not calmly discussing, hey, let's push here, but there's people saying, I want to push, or people assuming that you're gonna push, and people trying to catch Nick's, or excuse me, the puck. It's like, oh, he's here now, TP here, TP here. And all of that is drowning out any possibility of actually looking at what's going on with the Luna. The Luna's sort of lost because what he expected to happen, namely, we win fight, me Luna, me Glaives, me push, did not happen.
2 IQ. There was also the, what's been funny about this game is it's been one team in the base, then the other team's in the base, and Dame is going in absolutely ham. They find the Winter Wyvern first and the Tidehunter, both big priority targets, and the Wyvern's about to fall. The first Ravage will not hit anything, but can he get a second one off? He will blink in. It does quite some damage, but they're trying to rescue Dendy. Save Private Dendy. He will blink back onto the high ground. Now Watson, with no friends around, will die. Again, with the BKB popped up. Okay, the Satanic will buy some time. Maybe a kill here and there as TSA comes in to help as well. They're getting some stuns. They take down Dame, and Dame's godlike spree is gone, and they will not actually even lose Watson. It was just another bait. Just as said, Solo blinks out from this one, and the TP away from the Spectre. This time, Luna died to 2 supports in a 2v1, but in a 4v1, they just can't take him out.
This game...
This is quite the something, Kips.
It doesn't make sense, but definitely NoTechies and Bait both have trouble at understanding when the moment when a fight is actually won.
No Roche is happening. The buyback comes in from Puck. Trying to make his way as quickly as possible. Nick's Assassin's also there inside the pit. They're going to move the office onto the high ground.
Relocating.
Yep, relocating office.
TSA is just pure business, man. He has just been where he needs to be. That turnaround is because he comes from the back and says, no, stop hitting my Luna.
Yep.
Solo?
Up for that one. Solo goes for the aggressive play. They've got the Winter Wyvern. They're going to take down No Fear. Leshrac has his Aeon popped and the Bloodstone. They're going to keep Lesh alive, but the BKB is still there. Watson also has a BKB available. What do NoTechies do from here? They use the burst to take down one. It's a 5v4. Leshrac in trouble. Might just fall, and they will lose Dendy, but Dendy has a buyback, and he's going to use it, and he's going to TP right back in as Watson goes in for the reinitiation. Pops the BKB, forces Spectre away. They're going to look for excess Vampire at least, but the Ravage comes out. It will catch the Lion. They will take the supports. But they use buybacks and BKBs and ultis for 2 support kills, and every core from NoTechies runs out. Excess Vampire goes for the buyback. They know the importance of this next Roche.
There's no Ravage available right now, no refresher for another 30 seconds either. And this Winter Wyvern, they were waiting for that Winter Wyvern, they were waiting for that ult to have the turnaround possibility again, and Solo just assassinates him once again. Beautiful play from him. That really makes the entire fight possible for NoTechies at all, otherwise they just don't have a fight.
This next Roche is also game-winning or game-losing. The Cheeses and the H's and the Ags and everybody pretty much closing up on their peak. Some heroes are already starting to fall off a little bit with all these HP pools going up. I think that's also a bit of a downside for NoTechies with all their burst damage is Bait's heroes are becoming stronger and stronger and harder to kill. So I feel like the longer this goes, it goes easier for Bait, but still the initiation is everything in this game.
Everything.
Lame and Dame. The power duo inside the Roche pit. 1/3 down. Nice blink in from Dame. Tries to force aggression. They might actually get a nice one here. Luna half HP, but the save from the Wyvern is there, but the curse will come out as well. But Lane will take down No Fear, but the damage is already done. Tide, no Ravage is available. They're all getting sucked up by Solo from the river. They do have Lame coming in with a buyback as well, and the Spectre not looking good for Bait here. Dame doing a nice amount of damage. Bogus getting another set of chakrams on top of this next Assassin, throwing in more stuns. Solo dies in the Roche pit though, as Bait stack up with 3 to take down 1 hero out of play. Nyx Assassin falls, goes for the buyback, coming back in. I don't think we're going to have many buybacks left. We still have the Tide on the Luna. Bogus, no mana, no nothing. But meanwhile, they're going into the Roche pit at the same time with Lame and Dame. They can't take Roche down fast enough. And it's a 3 versus 4. Bait might have just secured Roche for themselves. But if anything that this game has told, it's not over until it's done.
Oh, definitely not. Lame there. It's so unfortunate that he needs to use the Haunt in order to get vision of that Winter Wyvern, so that maybe they don't need to use his buyback. But the problem is that since he went in with that Haunt, and he had to buy back because he died, he didn't have the Haunt to get back into the fight. He actually tried to TP, and his auto TP went to the bottom outpost, and he cancelled that because he's like in the middle of the fight, everybody's dying, and he's like, no! For fuck's sake, no!
Wrong place. Not here.
It happens to everybody, guys.
Yeah, it does. It does. Luna picks up the Eclipse Agonyms as well, so they can just top that or pop that on top of any area of the team fight, basically, or even out. If somebody tries to disengage, they can drop it. Dame with a BKB. TP's out. And Bait has an 18,000 gold lead.
All of a sudden, when it's been so close the entire time, but you gotta imagine that it's not just the items that you get from Rose, which is like a 3-4k gold swing, or the fact that you get a bunch of farm afterwards, or even the buybacks. It's also that the enemy team is doing nothing during all that time. So altogether, suddenly 19k, even though it doesn't look like the gold graph has changed that much on the face of it.
Yep, not really. It's been on Bait's side most of the game. But if you just look at the graph, it doesn't tell you the whole story. But however, it's been quite some time since we've seen somebody pushing on the high ground. This time it is Bates. Looking for the first tier 3 of the game. Hexed up, Luna half HP. Beautiful Ravage from the Tidehunter, catching 3. 2 seconds for the refresher to be up. Might be a great timing for him. He's waiting for it. He walks in, refreshes, gets stunned by Solo, waiting for it, but they're going to lose no fear. There goes the Ravage. The A on this will pop from Delvin well. As Focus tried to walk out, Lame will be taken out by Dendi. And one hero lost on both sides. Dame still trying to do some damage. Watson's got 30 HP, and that Aegis will finally be taken out. But they've already taken the tier 3. They've almost taken the melee racks, and they will procure it as Solo gets stunned up, gets taken out by Dendi. Double kill for the Slish rack. They might just end the game here. They're looking for it. They're going straight for it with the Desolator Anchor Smash onto the buildings. As they have those shards picked up, they will be able to take down. They just melt through the buildings, and Bates are walking through the Ancient falling, and they will take game number 1. GG called. Ancient falls. It is Bates for the victory.
Man, this is what Watson wanted to do all this time. You know, both of those times when he got caught out with Luna, it's because he was too eager to get to this enemy base. And it's gotta feel good for him to finally get to do it here at 55 minutes into the game.
What a brawl between these two. And
Absolutely.
it definitely took a long time, but yeah, as I mentioned, there wasn't that many high ground pushes. It was both teams basically waiting on the high ground to maybe smoke up, wait for the abilities, and go back again. First it was Bait sitting in the base, then it was NoTechies in the base, then it's Bait back in the base. We're fighting Roshan. The Roshan fight stretches for like 3 minutes. Somebody gets a pick off. Okay, finally we're looking at they're taking Roche. The other team takes it back, and it was such back and forth, and really tells you the scoreline 36-37. Also telling that this is the important tournament that these teams are playing for in the elimination round. What a game 1, Kips. Absolutely crazy game 1, and you couldn't expect less from these.
You absolutely couldn't. I really like that both of these teams, even though there's clearly mistakes being made, that they still give their all. It's not like one team suddenly collapses because, you know, Lame didn't actually get to do anything in the team fight, or because, you know, Dendi killed himself on a blade mail. Watson overextends. They kept on playing, they kept on making their calls. It's very clear here that everything is on the line. And there's a lot of plays in this game that we didn't even get the time to talk about because so much was happening. Some excellent pickoffs from Solo, some great use of the Lotus Orb by DK Fogas. We could actually see the last fight there was a reflected Winter's Curse, which is one of the ways to deal with no fear in general. And that the whole time that NoTechies was doing well in the game, it was just based off of them being able to pick off no fear without losing too many of their heroes. And once Bates started playing around that better again, we get that twist in the tail, we get that turn, and eventually they get to take the high ground with those Luna bouncing glaives. Finally.
It did, and the first game comes to a close, so don't disappear anywhere. It's a best of 3. We've still got at least a map 2 to go, so we'll be back in a bit.